What's up, everybody? It's Solo Cisse, co-host of New Money with Spencer and Solo. You're at the after-watch party for episode 2, season 1. We had Shava, Yaya, and Samya on that episode. We are actually joined with Samya today. Samya, what's going on? How's everyone?
Hi, guys. Not much. I actually enjoyed the show because I couldn't remember what we actually spoke about since it was just kind of like, fun in the sun. But I'm really excited to be on here, and thank you guys so much for having me.
No, I appreciate you having it on. It was a pleasure to record and super excited. For those tuning in right now, we are live. Please make sure that if you have a question, please text us at 712-NEWMNY6. Let's get this new money. Follow us on our socials at Let's Get New Money on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, the next social platform that arises the next few weeks. Whatever it is, make sure you follow up for instant updates. And yeah, Samya, I got to be honest with you. It was super fun to film this one. And yeah, where are you these days? What are you up to?
I am back in New York today, but I've been kind of just traveling, mostly Florida or Massachusetts. Just kind of reviewing hotels as a content creator. So that's been super fun and kind of took me out of the cold. But I'm back in the snow, so New York it is.
Nice. I love it. I love New York, to be honest. I love New York. Living in LA has been an adjustment, but who knows how long I'll be here. But we actually did get a couple questions from the crowd. And so I think number one, you actually touched on this in the episode, which was really nice. And we like your way about going about it because you're a pretty analytical person. So for people who don't know you, Samya is very analytical. She's very technical, despite what you might see on social channels.
It's a problem
she's very into that
sometimes.
stuff. It is a bit of a problem, but we love it. But one of the questions that we actually got was about what advice would you give a friend if they were interested in becoming a content creator but afraid that they wouldn't make money? I know that you talked about your process and how you made sure that you had some sort of data to point to before you joined into it. But any other additional remarks or things like that you have? What would you say when it comes to that?
Absolutely. So being that I did it myself from the start. My biggest fear was who would look at me. Like, no offense, but there's so many people out there, from celebrities to artists to people who already were influencers at the time. So my advice would be for you to feel more confident in yourself before you even start anything. Like, don't even go anywhere with it unless you have, you sit yourself down, you can have a pinpoint, what's your favorite aesthetics, like what's your main goal out of it. And don't think about the money portion, because the money is what's going to come. There's no way for you to target money, no pun intended, but there really isn't due to everything consistently changing all the time. So if you're confident and you know exactly what you're good at, like for me, this is a big step for me, even being on video, because I'm not a video person. I don't know if you guys could tell, I don't have many reels or many videos because I was self-conscious about being on video. So now that I kind of feel more comfortable filming New Money, I'm just okay, well, I need to step outside of that comfort zone. And there's a lot of value within that. So I would definitely say, spend some time with yourself, see what you're great at. Definitely select and highlight certain things, like what assets are you good at? Are you good at even taking photos, or are you better at writing the reviews? What is it that you're great at? And then kind of just move from there. That's when you select, your aesthetics and, your whatever it is, categories that you're trying to reach out to brands. And you focus on 1 or 2 brand assets to begin with. And I think you'll do great from there. I believe everyone in the world can be a content creator. It's just
really, everybody
depends on your
me.
Everybody, even you, Solo, you're like a supermodel now. So you go from Wall Street to runway. I honestly feel like it's the future, and everybody's going to do it at some point, given time, what they're really good at, or, what they're confident at doing. But my main goal would be for you to focus on yourself a little bit more, kind of, this whole socializing thing anyway. You're going to have some personal time. So I would just put time and effort into what you think you're good at. And, just start it from scratch. You don't need to post it online. Create content for yourself. Let your friends see it, go from there. Sure. When you're confident, that's when the money comes in. The money doesn't come in with how great of a photographer you are, or anything else that you're giving, because the competition is pretty high. But when you're confident, it shows in your photos, it shows in your, captions. And that's what the brands necessarily get you for, because they want you to make their customers feel good about their product.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I guess you bring a good point to it. It's like when you target the money, it's a bit tough. And, all of us know in the content creation space, obviously us working at, Calateen, what we see on our side, on the industry side, and obviously you being a content creator, you're realizing that it is kind of a, race to the bottom in the sense that it's a saturated market, right? There's a lot of creators looking to get those same brand deals. And so they have a ton of leverage. And so one thing that we talk about, and obviously this is CoinDesk, plug CoinDesk. We're big crypto. We're big blockchain here.
Yes,
Samya is the same
crypto
as well. Would love to talk about kind of, the idea of NFT ownership and like what the power that could bring back and instilling it back in the hands of content creators, right? Because when we talk about these brands, in a saturated market, they have a lot of leverage and power. And hey, if your price is this, they can go to another influencer just like you for a lower price if you're not willing to meet them there. With NFTs and stuff, in terms of monetization, you're able to take your own IP and really, put it out there. So with that, we have a question in the crowd. Do you have any interest in, entering the NFT space? Kind of what does it mean to you and going from there?
Absolutely. So obviously I'm going to have my NFT on Galaxy, which I love you guys for. But my main purpose for having the NFT actually is mainly targeted towards ownership. I feel like now that I'm finally confident into, why am I sitting here, providing all this value to all these other brands and not valuing myself, because I became a brand myself. So love collaborations, love working with different brands and products and elevating them, but also how can I value myself in a different space to where I'm taking photos on Instagram and yes, that's a collaboration, but where's the value in me? That's just mine. So besides creating my own, swimwear line or a clothing line, etc., that's where I kind of shifted into the whole NFT space, because I want my own brand ownership. I want to be, able to have someone purchase something that's fully valuably mine and actually present them with a value for that, rather than them, just supporting me online and liking my pictures, etc. I feel like I want to bring more value to people, and the only way to do that is to provide them with something that's 100% theirs. So it kind of, that's the reason why I wanted to get into that space. And just knowing that it's a more secure way to invest in something, that brings me excitement, being that we're from corporate backgrounds and stuff. I've never been in a space where it was hey, this is 100% asset yours. So I kind of want my own assets, and I want people to have that option of I own something that's Samya's versus, I own something that's from this brand and it got, trickled down somehow. And now this person's sponsoring it, which is great. But that's my main target and purpose for the whole NFT space is brand ownership. And I feel like it creates more value for you as a person.
For sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think you hit the nail on the head too. And I think what people, don't really understand is it is very hard to be a content creator. Content creators are the most creative, most smart people in a lot of cases. It's not as simple as taking a picture, at a restaurant or at a coffee or in some sort of vet clothing or whatever. You have to be constantly educating yourself on the different ways to monetize yourself, because it's always changing, whether it's the Instagram algorithm, whether it's TikTok's algorithm, whether it's the ways in which brands are going to be using you guys to, get their products out. You guys have to continually look at that type of stuff. And the content creators that have been super, impressive and super successful have been the ones that have embraced new forms of technology like NFTs and crypto. So just so that everybody out there knows, these content creators, some of them are the most, smart, savvy people that you'll have to learn and, you'll learn to, about them and stuff. So, a props to you guys there. I think one question that I wanted to really ask you personally is kind of, in the future, do you envision, there being easier ways for people to learn about this type of technology and stuff? What was really helpful for you in learning about blockchain? I know that you were early into the space. What would you recommend people that are like you or other creators that might be tuning in, watching this? Where would you start in terms of that education process?
So essentially, when I wanted to step out of the whole finance corporate side, I figured I knew I wanted to be into crypto. I just couldn't understand it. went through 100 white papers, still didn't understand like what is the actual source of this until I educated myself on blockchain first versus I was just constantly going into crypto projects and trying to learn from those. So that's where I kind of messed up in the beginning. It caused a lot of confusion for me, but I feel like it would be a little bit more easier. For me, I had the opportunity to, work in a tech startup, which was incredible. And it also pushed me towards everything. Working in a tech startup, my job was super simple. It was to put all the pieces together. But I'm a very open person and like to learn stuff. So I kept like asking questions like, what is this built on? And they're like, oh, blockchain. No one was going to tell me that if I didn't ask. My job was outside of like that. I think people should be a little bit more informative. Don't hesitate to ask questions. If I did, I wouldn't have known half of the stuff I know now. I also asked a few brands, projects that I was working on that were new in tech, is how can you pay me within the whole entire company, meaning like within shares, rather than you actually paying me every day, because I found value and didn't know how to get into it. So I would go on all these Coinbases and like all these like apps, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't understand. It wasn't until so one of the things is be very verbal, ask all the questions, because no one in the crypto space has it right. And I don't think it's going to be right for a very long time. So that's one of my advice for you guys. Second is read as many white papers as you can, but understand the blockchain and what it does and how it activates things before you go into investing and like, jumping into cryptos and like all this other stuff. So, I mean, that's essentially what helped me, is kind of just being open-minded and asking a ton of questions, which I love you guys, the people who, put me in that space. They educated me so much, and their app is phenomenal. So I was grateful to be a part of that. So definitely ask away.
No,
it's what I did with
awesome.
you too,
I appreciate it. This is my stuff. I'm a nerd. I sit there every single day up until midnight learning about this stuff because there's just so much that we don't know.
Till today,
I think that's the best part about it.
Like even yesterday, I was like, oh, let me learn a little bit more about Hedera, and I thought I knew everything about it. So it's constant education, and just find the right places and people, communities that can actually educate you.
For sure. No, absolutely. We really appreciate you coming on the show for one, episode 2, season 1. Let's Get This New Money. Follow us on our social channels at Let's Get New Money on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. You can follow Samya on her social channels at Samya Takes Over. We really appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you being a part of this journey and helping us educate the world on crypto. Thanks again, guys, for joining us for the After Watch Party. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. we'll be streaming the new episodes. So thanks again. And next week we're going to be learning about, what it takes to be a business person in this space and using content creation to fuel that further. So again, this is Solo Cisse, co-host of New Money, signing off. Peace out.